is from India and United States. He has very, very innovative ideas that you'd like to share with us. Terian Chebet, the CEO of Chronicles and Africa's Leading Ladies. She's a prominent media personality from Kenya. We have Mr. Rama Zamale, the CEO of Yazi Academy from South Africa and United States. We have Aida Nganga, Global President, Startup Innovation, Global Council for the Population of International Trade, Kenya. Mr. Obina Nwachuya, Managing Partner, Sclusia, Nigeria and Czech Republic. And as always, a pleasure. This session is moderated by Anne Gaida, the CEO of Rigo Africa Group. In this webinar, looking at the registrations, we have participation from business leaders from Europe, Asia, Africa, North America. We have SMEs, business organizations, investors, and other financial providers, partners including the UN and African Development Bank, and businesses, SMEs, and consultants. This webinar is sponsored by Strategia Business School based in Rotterdam, Netherlands. And I wish to welcome you to this Invest in Africa Symposium series. And now take this opportunity to invite Anne Gaida to moderate the meeting. And thank you very much for taking time. And I hope we have a productive session together. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, John Karegwa, for actually convening this webinar with you and your team at the Invest in Africa. And as John mentioned, my name is Anne Gaitha. I am the founder and the CEO of a company called Regal Africa based out in Nairobi, Kenya, in Africa. And basically we help our clients create wealth and through trade and investment. So this conversation around digital economy is something that I'm very passionate about and my team, and I'm very excited to be moderating here. I also want to thank the speakers who will be joining us to give us insights about the opportunities, because these are people who have actually done great things in their field. And so we'll spend the next few hours just having that conversation. I will have to say that for all of you who are not speakers, if you could just please be on mute, and also please close your videos so that we can make sure that we have a seamless conversation and that we can be able to hear from the experts. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off. The first speaker is Mr. J.C. Shukla. He is joining us all the way from India, and he will be sharing with us his thoughts about the opportunities in digital economy. Mr. Shukla, I would really, really appreciate if you can give us more insight about the digital economy, because from your CV, I know you've spoken at the International Trade Center, the World Trade Organization, you've been at UNCTAD, and really you've been talking about how the world can take advantage of ICT and be part of the digital economy. And so as a global management consultant, you've been able to use technology to grow your business. And for us here in Africa, and everyone who's joining wants to understand, what are the opportunities in digital economy, specifically in Africa? Because we all want to make money and we want to see transformation. So if you could share with us your thoughts, we would really appreciate that as we move on to the next participant. So welcome, Mr. Shukla, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you, John. And I welcome all the participants and all my co-speakers. First, let me clear the objective of this webinar. I've been conducting this webinar globally and have done it in Europe and America and also many in India. Basically, we want to encourage people to make use of internet for their living and also explore various opportunities. There is a huge difference since the advent of internet. The economy from brick and mortar has become a knowledge economy. And still many people are struggling to find out the opportunities. So it is my humble effort to see that for the small and medium and big enterprises, I can present some opportunities. So I'll now start my PowerPoint presentation with your permission. And
Go ahead, Mr. Shukla. You can go ahead and share your screen. You should be able to do that right now.
You have to allow me to share my screen.
Hello?
Hello. They say that I am not a co-host, so I'm not allowed to share the screen. And
okay, sorry about that. Let me just have our team at Invest in Africa, Mr. Nikram, can you go ahead and just ensure Mr. JC Shukla has the right to share his screen?
Yeah, now I can share the screen, yes.
Thank you.
I'll make the full screen as suggested by you. Is that okay?
No, I can't hear very well. I can't see the others of the meeting.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen, Mr. Shukla. You can go ahead and start.
So John was saying something.
No, I can see the screen. Proceed, please.
Okay, so can I start?
Yes.
I can't see. Huh?
The title everybody knows, opportunities in digital economy. Normally this webinar we give the title as be your own boss. So you are empowered to become your own boss. People can explore the opportunities in any part of the world. That is what the efforts are. 220 years before Christ, Archimedes made this statement: give me a place to stand and live long enough, I'll move the world. And believe you me, the time has come, and that lever is in your hand, which is ICT, Information and Communication Technology, which we will soon explore. Normally people come to me with this kind of problem. I am poor in English, I have no money, I have very low IQ. I always say, don't bother. Please take a course on creativity and see The Secret movie. That's the answer. I'll go a little fast because very short time is available to me. So I'll touch base with each website and each opportunities. And if there is any question, we can handle it later, or you can independently approach me. This is a scientific way to surf website. There is a site called, if you type in Google Barebone 101, this is site by an institution and university from United Nations who have given 12 steps how you can explore the web. Because web is a very big elephant, and at best you can go up to 30–40%. So if you go systematically, you can have the better results. And you know, if you are stuck and you want to find out more, you can go to ehow.com, about.com, answer.com, wikihow.com, and so on and so forth. And if you have a problem with scamware, you can go to Snoops, you can go to Scamware. Wish you happy surfing. Now look at how the world has changed. This is what I want to highlight. And I always tell people that how much you are empowered, you perhaps do not know. The cost of communication, cost of connectivity, publication, music, advertisement, everything is virtually zero. You know Facebook, you know WhatsApp. And if at all you want to advertise, say in Brazil, if for your product, it is free of cost given by the Craigslist. And number of things are happening on the site. You can explore this. I always tell people, do not solve the problem, sell it. It's easy. What do I mean by this? We have been running in a consultancy firm. We get all sorts of a problem. We had problem from Atomic Research Institution outside India, and that problem, we did not understand any technology of atomic energy. But we found out a Canadian consultant who could solve it. And that is how we connect them and make money out of it. This is what we call it. Do not solve the problem, sell it. This is possible on the internet. And I'll give you another example a little later. Now, another dictum, please hear carefully. Problem is new to you, but not new to mankind. Please do not reinvent a wheel. Ask Google. There are MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, solve continuously solving global challenges. Same way Modasa. So there are a number of sites which continuously solve the challenges. So before you attend a problem, please see that what is available on the net. The next dictum is network is network. I think many people understand net worth on the balance sheet, but they do not understand networking as net worth. We have 20 partners globally in different countries who are helping us in our business. And Kenyan housing project of $1 billion, we got it from our network partners. And same thing in Kenya, we are putting up a blood bank and a blood system, which will later go into greater details. Because of internet, there is a level playing field. You are as important as Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or what, any big man, as long as you bring to the table the solution which a client wants or which a problem is seeking. If you do that, irrespective of what is your background or who you are, there is a level playing field. This is a great, great opportunity for us. And we as a very small company located in India could cater to a global opportunities like Zeppelin, which I mentioned here is a German conglomerate, which we have created $1 million opportunities for them in India and outside India. The another one is, please listen carefully. Geography has become history. You are a global citizen. Still, we think as locally. This is a challenge. Let's explore further how these kind of changes have affected our in looking to opportunities. See, the tragedy of common is chained to power of crowd. Earlier, the bigger the crowd, it was considered as a curse. Now it has become an opportunity. Believe you me, poverty and hunger is now opportunity, is no more a curse. I'm going to give you one presentation, if time permits, how people can convert feeding hungry people world over and make money. We'll come to it later. Now look at this picture. This is a picture of 2010. And the equipments which are shown here, just have a look at it. I'm going to give you what all this equipment is going to deliver. These are the things, these are the 12 things you can do with all these equipments. Each one is a kind of your expertise. Now, each one you can do it by that equipment which is shown, which is costing then in 2010 $1 million. Today, all this you can do in just $100 by your smartphone. So why do I say this? I say this because you can make your living. You can create opportunities in each field: video conferencing, GPS, digital voice recorder, video player, whatever you want to do it. You can, if you do not know how to do this, you can learn on Coursera the technology, how to make use of music player or video camera, and also you can get the business from Upwork or a freelance sites, and you can make money out of it. Look at the 12th item, digital product store. Now, a friend of mine who has made a digital product store on the net, by which he is helping people to make templates, PDF, business cards, website, CV, flyer, letterhead, business plans, and also he helps you to convert your Google Chrome to customize so that you are not disturbed by the advertisement when you are surfing. So this is the thing what you can do just sitting at home. Even a woman can do in any part of the world. So these are the opportunities which we need to explore as an individual. See, the world has changed like this. I met this man in America, only one man who had few $1,000s. He had an idea. He got it design done in Taiwan. He got it prototype done in China. He got it mass manufacturing done in Vietnam. And back office, of course, freelance. You know how the world is changed. World's biggest change story. There is a noisy bit. World's biggest noise there.
Sorry about that, Mr. Shukla. Just sorry about that. You can go on, but everyone who's on the video call, please be on mute so that we can go on, we'd really, really appreciate that. And if you're not a speaker, if you could put off your video, we'll also please appreciate that. So Mr. Shukla,
yeah.
Go ahead.
World's biggest chain does not own a store. This is Alibaba, you know. World's biggest transport company has not got any vehicles like Ola and Little Cab of Kenya, you already know. Hotel chain Airbnb, which is largest one in the world, which does not have any room. So these are the new business model. How about thinking like that? You don't need it. You need a creative thinking. You don't need capital, which was the brick and mortar economy ideas. Now, I am going to give you beautiful six very good technology and funding platform. Each one is giving you support for technology, funding, marketing, and whatnot. Now, I'll just touch base. I would request each one of you spend a couple of hours on each one of them. Say Idea Connection has 10,000 scientists, experts, and professionals. They work on global challenges. You can be a solver, or you can give them the problem also. By doing this, you can make money. And I am both. I am solver, and I also share my challenges with them, which I get as an assignment. Innocentive is another technical side where they invite world challenges and define it that we are here, we want to go here in 3 months. And if you can do that, $25,000 will be awarded to you. So this is how the Innocentive is working. Indiegogo and Kickstarter, these both sides help all startups for technology, funding, and marketing. And last but not the least, Technology Exchange Lab, which has almost 600 technologies available free of cost. And what excites me is that there is a product, a friend of mine from Kenya only has picked up a product called Life Straw, which is a 6-inch by half-inch diameter pipe, which you can put on any water pool or a puddle on the road and start drinking water. You can have safe water. These are the products available. Either you can use it or you can take franchise, you can take dealership and make money out of it. That's how the opportunities are. This number of sites which I have been registering here, please look at that. Work and Hire and Amazon Mechanical Turk will give you the job the kind of competence you have. Wix.com will help you create your own website. Canva gives a design for anything. The TherexPortal.com, this is wonderful. TherexPortal.com is a site where you can become a physiotherapist without even undergoing the course of physiotherapy. It is audio video portal which helps any patient in any part of the world do the physiotherapeutic exercise on his own. This will help people who are in the rural part of Kenya, Africa, world, or India, or anywhere. They don't have to travel all the way to cities for simple physiotherapeutic exercises. If somebody has a paralysis, how can you expect him to walk and few miles and go to the city and take the staircase for 3rd floor and all? This all is avoided. And you can take the franchisee, which is just for $10 US per month, and you can become a physiotherapist in your own locality. This is how people have created an opportunity. Now, next one is DevEx, where there are global developmental jobs, high price, more than $100,000 a year. Say it again. DevEx has global opportunities for the job seekers. Now, Guru, Upwork.com, Manufacturing.com, DigiMarket. Here, millions of jobs are every day given, and every day new challenges are coming up. You can register that, and you can also earn money by solving the problem. Hungersite.org and freerice.com is my very dear sites. If the time permits, I would like to show you the Free Rice and how they make money by feeding hungry free of cost world over and make money. This is very interesting. The next one is Fiverr and Design Cloud. Fiverr is a site where everything is available in $5. Design Cloud is also, again, creating design challenges. A friend of mine who picked up a Design Cloud assignment in $165 and got it sold in Fiverr with $5 and made $160 money. This is how people make money. I said that don't solve the problem, sell the problem. This is our possibilities. Baba Mail, they are giving beautiful news you can use. And it is so interesting that over a period of time, you fall in love with Baba Mail, and they make money by advertisement. Etsy.com. Now, Etsy.com is a site where in 10 minutes, in 10 cents, you can open your web store on the net where billions of dollars are exchanged every day. So this is the opportunity. You don't have to look into hardware in Nairobi downtown or New York downtown and create a shop. You can create a shop on Etsy and start exchanging notes, marketing, and business. Zoto, where 1.2 lakh co-creators are creating new designs and new opportunities. You can join them. Worldpackers.com, where I think is the site where people want to travel world over free of cost. There are 6,000 jobs available. You can say that I can just do cooking, Kenyan cooking. Oh, then somebody will say, okay, you come to my country, I'll give you free stay, and you have to do cooking in place of the free stay, whatever you are enjoying, or something like that. The last one is my very favorite site, Barter Bank. I think all developing countries must look into this. This can immediately help in adding GDP of the country, because we have huge talents, huge time available, and it's going west. Barter Bank is exchanging skills and also exchanging time. Simbi.com is a successful model of Barter Bank. You can copy and looking to the local condition, you can replicate it wherever in the world. That is how you can create your own opportunities. This is the girl. I will be very happy if people can replicate this model. She was lost and found in just 45 days. Who found it? Mr. Nobody. It was Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. There are courses available how you can become private detective on Coursera and other things. And believe you me, each police station needs such kind of private detective supports. You can be at home, become a private detective, and support such kind of causes world over. These are the two sites which I think very important for all developing countries and very important for Africa. Because it takes you from brick and mortar to knowledge economy. I would request if IFCOKisan.com is a site which each one who is in agriculture or who has interest in agriculture should look into it, which gives a great details how you can create an ecosystem, green SIM card services, weather, market data, Ask Expert, agri library, helpline, etc., etc. This is a comprehensive, complete model. The last one is very interesting site, no cost farming. We have small farms in all developing countries, including in India. What this site shows you that you don't need anything, any input from outside. You don't need fertilizer, you don't need insecticide, you don't need pesticides. You and your land can make your living successful. Please visit that site. Somebody has done a miracle. They have created a manual. There's a 20 minutes video, and if you want, it can be still, there are another 20 videos related to that. Please go into that details. Now, Healthcare Africa. This is my another dear site. We need, in pandemic time, we need the support. We are right now, we are invited by government of Kenya to create a blood model in Kenya and create a universal healthcare system. What we have come up with, against the blood donation, we give a free health insurance. And this is a social enterprise for profit. This is a long story. I cannot go into great details, but anybody who has an interest can come back, and we would love to replicate this model elsewhere. We have a request from Philippines and we have a request from Mexico. We are already looking into it. Healthmarketinnovation.org is another great site for Africa. Doctorsfromhome.in. This is very important for Kenya or any other developing countries where there are shortages of doctors. I'm talking about another kind of telemedicine model where only a small pool of doctors can cater to the whole nation. And this is the model which is successfully working in India. We can replicate it anywhere. There is another site called Elivor, newark.com, which is your mobile phone can be converted into ECG device. You can look at their site and take advantage of it. We have developed 2 apps. One is Pocket Pediatrician and Pocket Gynecologist, especially to address IMR, MMR, and NMR, infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, and neonatal mortality rate. We have spent almost $1 million in reaching to this, and it is successfully in operation in India and also in other part of the country. If anybody is interested, we can share this. Be My Eyes and Super Sense. Be My Eyes is a site where you can help people who are visually challenged in the world. For example, I can, sitting in India, can help a friend of mine in New York in the streets who is visually challenged or is blind on the streets of New York, or I can help somebody in London who is sitting in front of computer, wherever they are, by use of your mobile phone. And these are the opportunities. These 3 sites are just for your knowledge, how economy and how things can help you. This is given to you for knowledge. Thank you all for your time, and I wish everything is helpful to you in creating new opportunities, or somebody can make money out of it. And I'm happy to answer any question. Over to Anne.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Shukla. That was a whole lot of information you shared. You know, I kept looking at it. There are opportunities in telemedicine, IT, design, handicraft. So it's not only goods, but also services. You mentioned about the website about Stop Hunger, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some time to be able to share that and show people how you can actually stop hunger movement from the comfort of your home. And you kept emphasizing about the millions of jobs that are available. And I really want you guys to pay attention, because I can tell you from my experience, I know a lot of people, especially from India, who've been able to take advantage of the global economy. I'm here in Kenya, and the person who does my website is in India. The other person who I'm working with is in the US. The other person is in South Africa. We're a global nation. So when you're in Africa and you have the ability to access the internet, there are various opportunities. You just have to do your research and find what it is that you're knowledgeable about, or at least you're willing to learn, and then we would be able to then find the market for you, or find the finances, because that's not the hard part. The hard part is actually figuring out where it is you want to be. And like I said, we are all global citizens, but the future is Africa. The future is Africa, the opportunity Africa. And so if you are on the call today, please pay attention, because that is what's going to be coming up. In fact, the next hour or so, we'll be having a conversation with 4 Africans from different parts of the world. There's some who are in the US, there's some who are in the Czech Republic, others are here in Nairobi, Kenya, and we also have people from Europe, and they all are experts in the digital economy. They're innovators, they are business people, and so they will be sharing with us their experience. And so that's great. Now, because I was looking at the chat, I don't see any questions specifically for Mr. Shukla at this time. What I'd encourage all of you to do is, could you please put your questions in the chat? So in the chat, just put your questions that you'd like to get clarification from Mr. Shukla, and also as the other panelists come in, go ahead and do that, so that then now when we finish this conversation, we can come back and start answering those questions, because I know there's a lot of information that is coming to you because you're here to learn, and we want to make sure that we answer every question from you. And also, before I bring the rest of the panelists, I do have to say that Mr. Shukla will be having a masterclass on digital economy. And so if you're interested in being part of that masterclass, then you can actually reach out to him and his team directly, or reach out to the team at Invest in Africa, and they'll be able to direct that to him. So as I wait for the panelists, I think Mr. Shukla, if you could just put off your presentation, okay. Then now we can actually have the next, yes. And also, if I could, I'd really appreciate if you are on video and you're not a speaker, if you could just please put off your video, and also if you can mute yourself. then we will be able to have all the speakers on video, and they will be able to start this conversation. I do see that we also have Ms. Terian Shagat, if you can get your video on, and Obina and Aida Nganga, who are our speakers today, would go ahead and really appreciate it. So I'll go ahead and start off. I see Rama is already here with us. And I will start off with you, Rama, because you know, I know of you and the great work that you've done. You have a wealth of experience. You've worked, and you're currently at Amazon, which of course all of you know is an online marketplace. You have experience with Yazi Academy, which is a company that you set up, which is focused on education, which I think is phenomenal. You have your experience in Google, and I always tell people when you're on the internet and you want to know anything, you just Google it. So you have this wealth of experience. You're an African based out of the US, and I know when you look into Africa, you see opportunity. So Rama, why don't you go ahead and just start off by telling us what are the opportunities you see in the digital economy, and where do we start, and how do we ensure that this is executed right? Because we have great plans, we like to talk as Africans, execution is key. So from where you stand with your global experience, what do you tell your fellow Africans? How do we go about doing this, and how do we make money? Because it's all about money. Go ahead, Rama.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Anne. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. And Mr. Shukran, thank you for that great presentation. Thank you for the panelists. Thank you for everyone that set this up. This is incredible. We need more forum like this, right? And this is how the conversation gets started. So to answer your question of what is the digital economy opportunity in Africa? There's tremendous opportunities all throughout Africa. But oftentimes I like to start from the beginning, right? We need to, every time we talk about an opportunity, we need to talk about the genesis of the opportunity and exactly where we come from so that we can understand where we are going. Africa has been on the cusp of innovation for a very, very long time now, right? We've been talking about it's time for Africa for a very long time. If you remember the Shakira song, right? Way back when she was playing it was the South African games, and she sang it and we all championed and we went, yes, it's time for Africa. But this is about 12 or 15 years later and we are still here, right? We're still here. It hasn't been time for Africa yet. We are still on the cusp of it. We're still
I think we are getting there. We are getting there, Rama. We are getting there. Slowly we are getting there.
We are very slow to get there, right? And, okay. And I want us to get there a bit faster. And the reason why I believe we need to get there faster is because time is of the essence, right? If you read the latest numbers from the World Bank, they state that digital economy in Africa it's either make or break, right? Either we transform all of the organizations and then we build on the cusp of innovation, or we actually become irrelevant. And we are really close to that irrelevancy. And that's just the reality of it. Let's be honest with one another. We are really close to that irrelevancy. And the reason why we're really close to that irrelevancy is because we've had tremendous amount of time to move the needle towards us, and we have not done so. So my call out is absolutely, we need to take this seriously, and we need to start moving tremendous effort. We need to do a lot more effort. And I'm gonna, if you give me the opportunity, I will talk about how we do that. But ultimately, we need to put more resources behind ourselves, and we need to champion everyone that's doing something tremendous. We need to do that. Now, what are the opportunities? If you think about it, there's a number of innovation happening all throughout Africa, right? When you consider, for example, the African kings, right? Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, right? These are countries that have led innovation tremendously throughout Africa. And when it comes to digital economy, they've transformed the way that we pay, they've transformed the way that we receive payment, the way that we pay out. It's transformed tremendous things throughout the countries, but they've done it very, very regionally. Right. So if, for example, you think about in 2006, M-Pesa launched, Safaricom launched M-Pesa. M-Pesa is revolutionary by all metrics, right? Because when you consider Kenya as a market where the local lady has to wake up in the morning, borrow money, and then go and buy goods, sell it in the market, repay that money back, and then make a little bit of profit for her family, How do you build for such a person, right? And M-Pesa was able to build a solution that actually considered that person, right? It's incredible. And what we should have done there is that we should have taken M-Pesa as a model and we should have replicated throughout Africa, but we didn't do that. Instead, Nigeria went and built their own. Ghana went and built their own. And we all build regionally. And we continue to do that. But if you consider, take for example, the global facet of the world. We have the youngest population, 1.2 billion of us in the world, and about half of our population is under 20. Tremendous opportunity there. But together, it's a great opportunity. Apart, it's not a great opportunity at all. The largest country we have is Nigeria, and Nigeria by far is leading the world in a lot of things. Every other country does not reach the numbers of Nigeria, right? The reason why the US is interesting to the world, the reason why China is interesting to the world is because they have the population to back the buy, right? So when I think about total addressable market, I want to be in Nigeria, I want to be in the US, I want to be in China, I want to be in India because the total addressable market is there. I want to be in Africa if you bring Africa together, because together, Africa is able to meet those total addressable numbers that make a difference, right? So we need to start thinking about together. We need to build for the entire continent rather than regionally. We continue to build regionally, we go nowhere. And that's just the reality of it. Now, when you think about all those innovation that's been done here and here and here and here, the biggest opportunity that remains is one of infrastructure and of business sophistication, right? We've developed, we've built, there's all these pockets of innovation here and there, but infrastructure has not kept up, right? When you consider, for example, the GII, the Global Innovation Index that indicate ICT access, use government online services, and e-participation with an indicator of 3.1, you realize that most of the countries that I just mentioned, the Kings, the Rwanda, the Egypt, the Tunisia, the Mauritius, the Morocco, the leading 10 of Africa in ICT have not even broken that margin yet, right? We are led by Mauritius at about 66%, right? And when you think about that, there's so much opportunity, there's tremendous opportunity when it comes to infrastructure in Africa. We need to start building stronger and better infrastructure. We need better business sophistication where we think about solutions that are complex and that are evolving. And we can't talk about any of this without the right education, right? Because ultimately, and this is where Yazi comes in, right? For me, I looked at the gamut of it. I wasn't, someone said earlier, I'm from South Africa. I'm not from South Africa. I'm actually from Benin in West Africa, right? But I grew up in the US. I learned a lot over the years. I worked at Google and now I'm at AWS. And one of the tremendous opportunities that Africa has that we've not even touched upon is the cloud. We continue, the cloud is readily available to allow us to scale, right? When you think about the big banks, for example, the big banks all have all these infrastructure that they have to log with one another. We don't have any infrastructure. We are barebone. And because we are barebone, we can build faster, better, and quicker. We can use the cloud to our scale and we can get where they are starting to, where they want to go to. We can actually build there already, but we are not doing that. We are thinking about regional solution and we are thinking about them in a very secluded way. We got to stop doing that. We got to start building on a larger scale and we got to start building in a bigger way, right? We got to start thinking about, instead of need-based digitalization, we got to think about future-ready digital transformation. And future-ready digital transformation requires a population that is future-ready as well, right? And for a future-ready society, we need to think about, the teachers need to stop and take a break for a second and stop training people to be factory workers, because that's what we continue to do. If you think about our school system today, we are still training factory workers. We don't have factory workers anymore. We have knowledge workers today, right? Let's start building more knowledge workers. Let's start building people that can actually lead the way, people that can actually collaborate, people that can actually come together and revolutionize the way that we think. We are not doing any of that. Right. So I looked at the entire spectrum of Africa, and for a long time I wanted to build for Africa. But I started thinking, I can easily build. I'm having
a health problem on my side.
Sorry about that, Ram. I looked like some noise.
Yeah, there's a person that's having a problem, he says.
Could you please be on mute if you're not speaking, and please put your video off if you're not a speaker? We'll appreciate that. Rama was right in the meat of things, and we really need to get this knowledge today. So we'll really appreciate it if you can mute and you can be off video if you're not a speaker. Thank you very much. All right, Rama, go ahead and keep telling us those things that we need to know and how we need to take
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe there's a person named Techno that maybe not hearing us, and maybe the tech team can address that. All right. So as I was saying, right, so ultimately when I wanted to build for, I can still hear the noise, sorry, it bothers me a bit. There you go. I think the person simmered up. Awesome. Thank you so much. Right. So when I think about building for Africa, we can easily, with an engineering degree, go and build factories and build simple things. But when you want to transform a people, you got to start from the basics, right? So for me, it was a matter of let's go back to understanding exactly what the market needs and how we can solve for that. So we built a platform called Yazzie Academy. And what is Yazzie Academy? Yazzie Academy really is sort of, think about it as an AI and machine learning model that enables us to understand the way that people learn, right? We want to uncover the human genius, right? The way that humans learn. Because ultimately, think about the way our brain works. When you, for example, when you learn math and you learn the basic concepts of Pythagorean theory, for example, after you learn that and you have understood that, it is now filed in your amygdala. It's done. It's in there. You never have to learn that again. It's learned and you move on. And now you got to learn something else to actually utilize that knowledge, right? We continue to make a weird mistake in education where we continue to teach the same thing over and over again and learn the same thing over and over again. We have teachers that just learn the same thing over and over again, and it makes no sense. Our brain don't work that way. The things that we've learned, we need to park them and we need to learn new things. We need to figure out how do we learn new things. So how do we figure that out? How do we build that? That is what Yazzie Academy is designed to do. So ultimately, what we did is we built two apps. One of them is called Yazzie for Guides, and the other one is a Yazzie user. So if you're a tutor, you were a mentor, we actually enable you to offer your services on this platform so that you can actually make a little bit of money while educating the future, the future leaders of Africa. But we don't just do that. We think we look at ways for you to grow as well. So as a tutor, for example, every 3 months, we give you the opportunity to upscale. We give you professional development. We give you ways to, and that person is back. Your person is back in.
Okay, I apologize about that. We'll have the team mute him or find a solution to that. Go ahead, Rama.
All right. So, and if you can you still hear me, or am I coming through there? Just making sure. And can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. Wonderful. So basically, we built this platform, and then we started looking at how do we actually help the market evolve a little bit more. So we started looking at courses that we can provide to the market to evolve the market. Right. One of the courses that we're working on currently is actually,
I have put him on in waiting, and then when I admit him again, it's him. I don't know what's wrong with this phone.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Rama. We're just trying to fix the solution. Go ahead, okay. Find a solution. Yes.
It's totally okay. Right. So one of the curriculum that we are looking at offering currently is really Yazzie community learnings. Right. So we built a road safety certificate in Kenya for NTSA that we are proposing to NCSA. Basically, the idea is we took the curriculum that is very wordy, we turned it into graphicals and into videos that can be consumed by anyone. Right. They are about 5 minutes long. So basically, to help the border community, we build these quick learnings, and they can learn road safety through that. Once they learn that, they go ahead and they take a certificate that is blockchain backed, right? So no one can duplicate it, and they are able to drive safer on the road, right? Because that was a problem that we noticed that Kenya had, right? Another problem that we noticed throughout all Africa is all these microloans that are happening. These good old ladies are capturing all these microloans. They go and grab it because it's easy money, but they don't know what they're getting themselves into. We had a story of a lady in Nakuru, for example, who took a loan of 30,000 Kenyan shillings, which is about $300 US, right? Took a loan of 30,000 Kenyan shillings, and by the time she had to pay back the loan, she owed about 600,000 Kenyan shillings, right? It's a tremendous shift for a person that cannot afford to buy bananas to sell on the market to be able to owe that much money. We got to be able to do a better job of financial literacy. So we build a financial literacy course, right? And now we are working with a number of banks. We are telling microloan banks, hey, if someone doesn't have a certificate in financial literacy, do not lend them money that they don't understand where it's coming from and how to repay it back, right? We want to work with the community to build community-based solution that's going to help the community rather than hinder the community. The other thing we're doing is we are showcasing a number of solutions, such as Mr. Shukran just did. Amazon, for example, has a program called Restart, where if you don't currently know how to be in a digital economy or a digital world, you can actually learn that. We will take you from zero knowledge to actually understanding how to work on the cloud, how to build on the cloud, how to be a graphic designer if that's what you want, how to be a coder if that's what you want, how to build. We are going to teach you all that. Google has a similar program. And there's a number of programs out there that people are just that are readily available, that are completely free of charge, that we just make available on the platform for anyone to use. The idea is to really help the market transform itself rather than have people externally come in to transform the market. Because even though we have to think about future-ready digital transformation, we have to think about future digital-ready transformation from the African point of view, right? It has to be from the African point of view, otherwise we miss the boat.
It has to come from the African point of view. I really like that, Rama. Please keep emphasizing that, because again, our solutions have to come from Africans or from people locally who understand the problems. Sorry to cut you short, because I know you have a lot to go on and we have a lot of other panelists, but I like you kept emphasizing about transformation. You kept talking about together we succeed. I totally believe that. You actually talked about, of course, digital infrastructure, and we have an expert who'll talk about that, about digital assets. But one of the big things about Yazi is about education, right? And all of us need to be educated. All of us need knowledge. That's why a lot of people have joined in here from all over Africa and the world. I'm seeing people from Cameroon, Rwanda. But the fascinating thing about this, and I do have to say, Rama, I do have to point this out. You are from Benin, you live in the US, and you're providing a solution for Kenyans with the border people. Like, really, right? There's nothing stopping any of us Africans anywhere around the world to find the solution. You don't have to be on the ground. And I guess, Rama, your story is really telling us about the ability of us as Africans to do great things wherever we are in the world. And we don't only have to bring in money, as we're used to hearing, the diaspora, but we actually have remittances, but now we can bring in knowledge that will transform. What I want to do, because I need to go to the next speaker, I want you to think about something. And this is a bit personal, because back in 2013, when the Kenyan new administration of the Jubilee government, or in this case, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's government came in, there was a conversation about one laptop per child, right? So it was this idea that we have to go digital in the education space where you are in. But there was a conversation in Kenya which fascinated me, because on one hand, the people said, we don't need this. We don't need digital education, e-learning, because what we need right now is food. And this was in 2013, 2014. At the time, I just come from the US, and during my MBA, I was working with the Clinton Foundation, and we actually were talking about one laptop per child, and it was being done in Rwanda. Now, the reason I'm asking you to think about it is on one hand, we have governments putting in policies and structures to actually go into the digital economy and digital transformation. But then we have Africans on the ground who are saying, this is not important for us right now. We need food, we need shelter, we need clothing. We are still thinking basic. How do you change that and let people know, look, if we had that digital transformation and e-learning being done in 2014, when COVID happened in 2020, we would have been ready. But in 2020, we were not ready. And so our children in the public education system are being affected. What is Yazi doing, or what can Yazi do in that space? So think about it while I go on to our speaker, who to me is an amazing lady who has done great things in the digital space. And this, for all of you who are in Kenya, we all know Terry-Ann. I don't know if she's on the call. Yeah, great. I see Terry-Ann. And thank you again, Terry-Ann, for joining us. For me, Terry-Ann, I really want you to talk about what you're doing, because you're doing very, very many things. I mean, one of the exciting things that you've done, because I'm part of that, that group is the African Leading Ladies, right? So I remember getting a link from many people in my network, and they were like saying, you know what, Anne, you have to join this group. And I remember in about a week, you had over 250,000 people. So that's amazing. I really want you to talk to us about African Leading Ladies. I also want you to share with us your journey, being a media personality, and then actually going into the digital world, setting up your own YouTube channel. You have an amazing show called Streetwise. Tell us about that. You're also running Kiara, which is also right now an e-commerce, and we like to buy skin products as women. We like to, you know, look good. And you have a digital agency. I mean, you're doing so much in the digital economy space. You're a mother, you're an entrepreneur, and you have not stopped anything from letting you achieve what you want to achieve. So tell us, what are the opportunities that you've seen, that you've taken up, and also those opportunities that you see that you haven't taken up, so that people on this call can learn and understand there's no limit. There's no limit. You see an opportunity, you take it, and technology is your friend. So welcome, Terry-Ann, and tell us more about everything you're doing, and please start with the African Leading Ladies.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anne, and thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm truly humbled to be here, and I just want to make a big shout out as well to my fellow panelists who have given us some really great insights in the spaces that they are operating in. So as Anne correctly mentioned, my name is Terry-Ann Chebet. I wear many hats, and I believe I'm in my last very highly productive decade. I'll be 50 in about 10 years. So between now and then I consider it as the time to do everything that I can and give it my all, which is something I love to do. I'm highly driven. I strongly believe in the power of the digital space because my background has been in the media, traditionally, TV and radio, which is where I actually, sort of started out from a career perspective. And it is the realization actually from a media perspective that made me quickly look at the digital space. Being a TV producer by training, later on moved into the broadcast space and being a reporter, an editor, and a news anchor for well over 10 years. At some point I started asking myself, because there was very quickly a convergence coming through, and I believe I was one of the first adopters of social media when we were all scared of right about that time. But there was, Five, and then there was Facebook, and then there was Twitter. And I was really curious about what that space was like. And I remember, I think for the first time when Twitter came on board, for me, was about 2009. And I began to see a shift in how people consume media. And yet I was, in the media. And I remember asking my team and talking through it. I was working, I think, at CNBC Africa at the time. And we got to realize that people didn't have to wait for the 9 o'clock to hear the news or switch on their TVs to watch the news. And right about later on, and when, the media houses began embracing getting into the digital spaces, I moved to a different organization where, I had a lot of time on my hands, and that's when I decided to set up, the digital agency. And basically that was from a perspective of there is an opportunity for other corporate organizations to get on, to hop onto the international space using social media. And my first client, and allow me to just quickly take us through that because that was the game changer for me in terms of looking at opportunities in the digital space. So I wasn't trained in digital. I wasn't trained in, social media marketing. In fact, at that time, all of us were trading in the dark. You're like trying to find your footing. And all I knew is that I was a good communicator, and I knew how to get people to listen to what I was saying in the social media space, whether it was a tweet, whether it was a blog, which I'd started doing, and I wasn't doing any video at the time. And so I approached a small bank locally, and I came up with I had done a proposal for their social media platforms, and they were not active on social media much at the time. And they gave me the opportunity to come on board and handle their social media. And that was, the beginning of the digital space. So I was working at the agency, I started off on my own from 8 to 1 o'clock, which is then I would report to my formal job from about 2 o'clock to 9 p.m. And that for me is actually the space where most of the young people should be in, because there's so much that's happening. And I mean, we have 24 hours to play with. So there's so much that is happening that we must jump on. And both the previous speakers who were here have alluded to it in different ways. So, when Scarlet Digital then grew, we grew into a whole advertising outfit, including digital. And then we got people who actually got trained in the digital space to come on board. So it became a whole different ball game completely. But usually the conversations are around, because corporates were used to being on TV. And our conversation usually was, who's watching TV anymore? And imagine me who's on TV asking my client, nobody's watching TV, which is when at some point last year, I decided to completely leave the traditional media space. I was managing a TV station locally here in Kenya. And because of that question, and I continued asking myself, who's watching TV? I am on TV, but I will probably get a streaming channel, or I will make a decision to watch when I want to watch. So everybody was moving towards that direction. And now that we are seeing all these different opportunities in that space, not just from a news perspective, from a content creation perspective, from an empowerment and mentorship perspective, which is what Africa's Leading Ladies is all about, that Anne talked about. So there's so much to do, and I want to do all of them, and I am doing all of them. Just finding time and finding people to work with to ensure that I can maximize on the opportunities that I'm seeing in the social media and the digital space, so to speak. So when I set up Africa's Leading Ladies in July of last year, I'd quit my job in June, and I was looking for spaces where I could interact with other women who are driven, women who are looking for mentors, who are looking for coaches, who are looking to grow their businesses. And in as much as, yes, you can call somebody or you can tweet somebody, I wanted a community where women could actually get to connect on a one-on-one if possible. So I set up Africa's Leading Ladies. We're currently just over 392,000 women from across Africa who are constantly engaged in everything from personal development, personal finance, mentorship, coaching, networks. With Africa quickly becoming a one market area, whether or not it has been formalized yet, there's still so many ways in which we can trade. I'm selling skincare products here in Nairobi, but my clients are from Kenya, but we also have clients from across the continent and across the world. And what has made that possible, one is our e-commerce store. That's another digital platform. So before COVID, and I say this with a lot of surprise at the beginning, because when COVID happened, then we panicked because we were selling through shop fronts, mostly beauty shops, pharmacies, supermarket. And then COVID happened. And then we're like, okay, what to do now? So thankfully, we had set up a website, an online shop, which we were not completely focusing on. But a few months later, we started realizing that if we focus on e-commerce, because nobody was going out to shop, yet people still, were getting babies. Sorry, I've got a kitten in the house and it's playing with my feet. So people still want to buy skincare. People still want to buy oil for their babies. Men were keeping their beards longer than normal, so they wanted beard oil. So we ended up then realizing that not only are we making higher margins because we can actually now sell at a retail price and not necessarily the wholesale price which we sell to our distributors. And it opened a completely whole new world. So we then said we're going to do 95% of our business on the e-commerce platform and 5% on distribution, storefront distribution. And it's been an amazing journey. I mean, sometimes, when they say there's a silver lining to every dark cloud, for us, the silver lining was the e-commerce space, which is in the digital, completely in the digital space. So I'm excited about what's happening there. And there's so much more that I found as well through my YouTube channel, which I also started focusing on last year during COVID. And based on that same question, I asked myself, people are not watching TV as much as they used to, they're online. So I said, okay, I can still speak. I still have my voice. I still have my content. I still have the experience. I can still produce. So I quickly jumped into YouTube as well, creating content and working with, partners such as Visa and a couple of other partners who have come on board to help co-create content with me. So, in a nutshell, yes, there is so much opportunities, and it just takes a lot of speaking with people, being aware, putting our ear on the ground, and being open-minded to what's happening. And for us, I know in the media, it's always been that we've got blinders on sometimes, and we just, we're so focused on the news at 9 o'clock, and that's where all the serious things happen. But, I can't remember personally the last time I actually watched TV, unless, like last night, my former boss and my mentor was being interviewed on a local channel, and that I would watch. But my regular news, I'll get on Twitter, I'll get on WhatsApp groups, and that's where the opportunities also are. So for all of us who are watching, I'll just say, first of all, we've got 24 hours, we can do so much within that 24 hours, which means we're not allowed to be broke because the opportunities are there, and the money is there as well. So, if we define ourselves as digital entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in the digital space, there's so many places we can go to without, and of course, not spreading ourselves too thin because there's the flip side where you can do so much and deliver on very little. So, finding the right partners, finding the right people to work with, because you can't do everything on your own, but you can find different strategic partnerships or business partnerships that can still help you deliver and maximize on the potential in that space. So the potential is huge, whether it is agribusiness. And I follow this Mkulima Young on Twitter, and I realize now that I can actually order for capsicum or maize or tomatoes from anywhere across, our neighboring counties, for instance, in Nairobi, at the click of a button. I don't have to, I hate shopping. I hate vegetable shopping. I hate the market. So I'm like, perfect. It'll just be delivered to my doorstep. And whoever's doing that doesn't need to have their own website, doesn't need to have my contacts. They just need to be on that platform. So I guess the opportunities are immense. We just need to open our eyes, but we also need, and perhaps this is for the Kenyans in the audience, we need to stop this copycat thing of so-and-so is doing, so I will do. Find your gap, find a solution you can provide, find your niche. And if you're trained in it, if you've got skills in it, even better. Then, own that space that you're in. So I guess, I hope I have not taken too much time, Anne, but that's basically the opportunities I'm seeing. And I think there's so much more, but just keep your ear on the ground and let's talk to as many people as possible, because that's how ideas are born. Thank you, Anne.
Wow, Terry, and you said so much. I was busy writing down, just taking up to just make sure that I gather it all. I love the fact that you talked about the power of the digital space. You saw it earlier on. You said you are not an expert, but you saw the opportunity and you took it. In fact, you mentioned about people looking out for the trends, how people consuming their goods and services. if you're able to do your market research, you'll be able to see the gaps, and then that is where the opportunity is to make money and choose. You're not allowed to be broke, right? So as Africans, no more just thinking about bottom of the pyramid, hunger, elevate. Rama has challenged us. Terian has challenged us. We've also been challenged to stop coping and innovate. In fact, I'm very happy because Ida, who will be speaking next, is in that space of innovation. She'll tell us how to do that. You mentioned that we just need to learn, do the work, and maximize on the opportunities. And there's so many e-learning platforms. There's Yazi, there's so many things on LinkedIn. There's so many institutions that are giving free courses. If this is something you want to do, you just research and you can find that opportunity. And again, you encourage us to find the right partners. As Africans, we have to learn. We cannot do things. We cannot do great things alone. We need the right partners. To find the right partners and deliver on African excellence. And I really, really appreciate you, Terian, telling us what it is that we need to do, because this is real life experience. It's just not a story. These are people who are doing it. And again, one of the things that we are rising up slowly. Rama was saying it's taking a long time, and I think it's been taking long because the women were not coming along, but now the African women and men and the youth are coming together. And so we're going to do great things if we are all pulling our weight. So thank you, Terian. And I'll get back to you a little bit later, because you are, of course, in the digital space. That is not what you studied. But then you've been able to navigate working remotely, right? And this is something that is very challenging for people. So how do you think we can work more remotely efficiently? How do we use technology in the right way? And for you, you're an entrepreneur, like I said, you're a mother, but you've been able to position yourself very well. So I would like you to think about that and just share with us, what is it that we need to do? Because sometimes we feel like we have too many obligations that we can't do things right. And I think that is not the right way of thinking. And I think you're a great example of how we can do good things, many things. All right, so thank you, Terian. My next guest today is Ida Nganga. Ida, are you on the call? Hello, Ida?
Hello, Anne. Yes, I was just posting my apologies because I'm in a low network area.
Okay.
And the conversation seems to be breaking up.
Okay. We can hear you right well. Do you want to move to another area and we can get the next speaker and then you can join in, or?
Yes, I think that would be best. I think we can try and do that.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. And we will just go ahead and have Obinna, who is the next speaker. I believe I saw him on the call earlier on. So Obinna, are you on the call? Obinna is originally from Nigeria, but he's all the way in the Czech Republic. And he's going to be talking to us about digital assets. Obinna, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you put your video on, or is that not possible?
I will go ahead and put the video on right now.
Okay, great. So while you're doing that, I guess for me, my question for you, Obinna, like I said, you global citizens, all of us seem to be that. You know, you've born in one place, you're born in Nigeria on the African continent, you've traveled around the world, you're right now in the Czech Republic, and you've seen opportunities. So in your case, we were discussing about asset management of digital assets. This is something that a lot of us as Africans are not paying attention to. There's the digital infrastructure that Rama was mentioning. There is even the fact that we need the right skill sets in Africa. We don't have to go to university to get these skill sets. There are organizations that can teach you these skill sets, and then you're able to do this work all for global clients. So just tell us, what are the opportunities you see, and also how do we as Africans on the ground take advantage of this global opportunity, and at the same time, how do we ensure sure that we're developing. So we're not focusing on just outside, but we're using these skill sets and building infrastructure on the continent to make sure that things are working right. Rama mentioned that it's time we leapfrog. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. We don't have to go the old way that the Europeans did. We don't have to go the way Asia did, or the US. We're in a time in history that we can do things right the right way. So tell us from your experience, digital assets, what do we need to do, and how can we make money in this space? So go ahead, Obinna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Annie and Mr. Karegwa, for creating this platform for us. I'm super excited to share this, but I can't even go on without thanking Rama for that fantastic presentation. He basically said it all, right? No matter what's on the ground, no matter what we build, if there is no skill set to push this agenda forward, we will just end up running in circles. So a bit of my background, I was born in Nigeria, like you've said. I grew up there, ran few family businesses, got interested into tourism because I come from the southern part of Nigeria. We have this Carnival Calabar. It's Africa's biggest street party, modeled after what you have in South America. So that interest got me into tourism. I worked for my state government for a while. I'm like, there's something here that we're missing. Okay, I'm going to go prepare myself for it so I can come back at some point in the future and dive into it. So I moved to Spain for a master's degree in tourism. From there, IT found me. I started, working for AT&T, IBM, and I've been managing assets for IBM for a few years now. So that's basically like a quick background for just those who are curious. On the side, I run my own tourism-based firm. And so everything I'm going to be talking about will be an intersection between this digital infrastructure and somehow tourism. I hope if I've kind of tried to apologize proactively, just in case I focus on only one industry.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Rama has said, we can all agree that infrastructure plays a huge role in enhancing the digital economy. As a matter of fact, I personally believe that Africa has the best advantage and opportunity based on both timing and cost of penetration to grab and kind of champion this need. In context, I'd like to say, if we rewind back just a couple of years ago, there was this huge phenomenon called landline phones. I don't know how many Africans had landline phones at their, in their homes, right? So yeah, so it was a big thing, right? The rest of the world had that communication, they had that infrastructure, but we did not, for obvious reasons. It was costly, we didn't totally understand it, and the list kind of goes on from there. But then if you fast forward and look what happened after the emergence of GSM technology, right? Africa became one of the fastest adopters of mobile technology, right? We begin to see we had an average of 70% internet penetration and use, right? Which kind of gives you a leap. Another good example will be cryptocurrency, right? So if you look at the adoption of crypto, chasing closely to Russia, Ukraine, who are currently like the highest. You have Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya being like the top adopters of cryptocurrency, right? So these two examples kind of shows you that although we are coming from a point of deficiency, we've been able to also see that opportunities that do not require so much robust infrastructure to be laid on the ground, that Africa has shown that they can, if there's a way that they can penetrate. So I'm going to quote Pierre Gosselin. Pierre is the former vice president of the African Development Bank. He said that Africa has shown that it can deliver. But our problem, just like Rama, also I'm going to be referencing Rama a lot because I think he said basically everything. But the problem that we've had so far is the cross-border private sector collaboration. This is needed to kind of champion anything. It's an essential recipe that we need. I'm going to also make a quick reference to the M-Pesa thing that he said. Based on my personal analysis, when you look at the way that money, e-money thing went through, most of the excuses we could clearly see was based on the diversity in the currency, right? Africa is not Europe. In Europe, you have one currency and that money can go across different countries, right? But in Africa, when you try to copy external models and bring it to Africa, it doesn't work. Because when you leave Nigeria and you go down south and you have to go to Ghana, it's cities, right? And if you go to my neighbors in the Benin Republic, it's a whole different, France. I think I was there in 2012, I think, and it was France, right? So I had to change my money in the border, across the border to get in there and do transactions. So you begin to see all those kind of infrastructural deficits coming from the way Africa is originally designed, right? Which kind of brings me back to looking at that homemade solution. Our infrastructure has to be developed from the ground up. And to give you a good example, I would like to applaud Rwanda for a very ambitious goal. Rwanda is saying, listen, by 2024, we want to make sure that we are prioritizing digital literacy for every Rwandan. That's a good step, right? It's also very good that we've seen countries say, okay, we're going to go ahead and give out laptops to these kids. And if I also reference back to the example, yes, these kids can have these laptops, but where is the infrastructure that they need? There's a gap that's missing that the government is doing wrongly, right? The communication has not been clear enough. And we will see that when I begin to talk about a few startups and things that I have seen happening in Africa more recently. So I'm going to start from fintech, right? Startups, opportunities around the digital economy that we've seen booming in Africa, things like fintech, agri-tech, logistics. If you have to go and start mentioning the huge players, we know them, Paystack, Flutterwave, and the rest of them. But what we see happening here is that these guys are gradually beginning to adopt this cloud computing, right? And when you talk about cloud computing, we talk about virtual machines, we talk about Amazon Web Service, which is what Rama does. We talk about Google Cloud, VMwares, and all of that. This automatically cuts down so much reliance on digital or on physical infrastructure. If you kind of reference back to the example I gave with the telephone lines, right? Now you don't need to build and break so many things on the ground. You don't need that huge building. Like Marianne said, you just need access to the internet and you can put your product there. If you're going to build something that's very robust and interesting, we have programs that have already been built that you can rent a server in the cloud and you launch your business in a couple of minutes. In hours, you run the whole thing, right? So if I have to kind of go back to the opportunities that I see, I think that most Africans are not looking deep enough. People are still kind of thinking, I don't have what it takes and I need so much more, right? I see opportunities in I'm going to go again to tourism development, for instance, because this is what I've been working on recently. When we look at African tourism and the rest, Kenya, South Africa, and Rwanda has been doing very good, but there's a lot of opportunities that are left on the ground. Example, how are we managing our natural tourism, assets? We've left all these things to the government. The government is not making the best decision, especially where they don't clearly see the need and the value from that. An everyday individual is, well informed enough. If you don't have the information, go online, learn what it's going to take for you to take those things, put them on the internet and begin to market them. As a matter of fact, we are working on a few programs where we want to kind of democratize ownership of, like tourism locations, hotels, Airbnbs, like those kind of short-term things. We're building an infrastructure where we're saying, listen, guys, you don't need $50 million to buy or invest in this property or in this, ancestral shrine that people have already shown interest in. We are going to co-own this with the government. We are going to bring in our own management team, and you will just have to maybe own like a share of this thing, right? And with this management in place, with the technology in place, we will have to use our digital marketing skills and the rest, and we will run this entire business. And we will pay the government, and you will also have something at the end, right? So that's just one example of such opportunities that I see. And going back to the infrastructure, we have people like Tech Advance. Tech Advance is a startup in Nigeria. These guys are helping everyone who has an idea or wants to build a fintech product to go online without having to buy servers and all of that. So it's a plug and play solution, right? Tech Advance is one of them. There's one called Lorry System. If you want to start or build a business around logistics, you go to Lorry System and you just have a plug and play solution for you, and you can launch within weeks. You can test your MVP, and you can quickly see if what your idea or whatever you have in mind is viable enough for the market. And when you go off building the whole thing yourself, there are platforms that also helps to find these very interesting ideas that you can invest in, right? So for instance, there's something called Future.Africa. Future.Africa is led by Iyi. Iyi is one of we call them the Andela Mafia. So it's like the guys who went through Andela around the early age. So these guys are basically going out there looking for these smaller businesses across Africa that's doing something interesting, and they're vetting these things, doing the market research, checking, like basically everything you need to invest into this digital economy. And that's also a very good way to go in there. And I see that as an opportunity because some people don't want to run the business, but they want to support those that are already running those businesses. So Future.Africa is a good spot. Next, you can talk about Volition Capital, which is also something I use. Volition is a cooperative, and we're basically just going around knocking on doors and saying, hey, we see that you have this beautiful agri product and you try to sell this thing for 50 euros and the market is not reliable enough. We as a team, we're going to come and we're going to buy the whole stuff from you. Right, so you don't need to take it to the markets, you don't need to go crawling, but we're going to buy it at this amount, and we have our own network and we can sell that within a short period of time. That way we're empowering the people who own these things, so that the local farmer, the local mom and pop store, the guy who's building this e-commerce idea, we're empowering you and saying, give us this thing, take the money up front, go and invest in building something better or grow this business, but we are taking off all the challenges of taking this to the market. And we sell those things and we get returns back. So in a nutshell, I think that one, it's not costly. The cost of starting and building and running an infrastructure is not the same as it used to be a couple of years ago. Secondly, there's a lot of opportunities with very, very low barrier of entries. And thirdly, these things will continue to grow. The question will be, are you coming with Africa, or are you just going to stay on the sidelines and watch and hope and say, oh, I wish I had invested in Paystack in 2015 because they just valued them for $230 million and Stripe acquired them. So it's a decision thing from this point. So I think that's all. I can go on with lots of examples and startups that I've been working on. People will take very simple ideas and just kind of make very big things from them. But let me end here so that we can get other people to share their stories as well. Thank you, Anne.
Yes. Thank you, Obinna, for just sharing all of that. In fact, you know, when you're talking, one of the things I wrote down here, it doesn't matter where you're from, it is what you can do. It doesn't matter, right? It's what you can do. And as Africans, we need to seize this opportunity. And you're doing it, Rama is doing it, Terian is doing it, and the rest, and Ida will come and tell us what she's been doing. It was quite interesting for you to say how you transitioned from tourism, how the tourism industry has been highly affected. You transitioned, you saw the opportunity, you understand the digital space is a very important space, and you're actually saying, you know what, there's something I can do here. You mentioned very many things about, first of all, the adoption of technology. I think there's an aspect of Africa who are very big on technology. I know I'm one of them, but there are also other people in Africa who want to make sure that things stay the same. And so the question is, how do we change that, right? So maybe, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, but you mentioned about cryptocurrency, and I remember sometimes doing research because I'm in the investment space, and very many Kenyans, as you alluded, own Bitcoins, and everyone was interested in the Bitcoin phenomenon. I'm not there yet. I believe in blockchain technology. I'm still researching on the cryptocurrency, but I know that's the future. So I liked what you said about that. And you mentioned about cross-border coordination and that African problems will be solved by African solutions and that we need to innovate. I really, really, really liked you saying that. And what's this called again? The question I had for you, I wrote here a question. We're all talking about this collaboration thing. I can say in Kenya, I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but you're talking about this co-ownership. We are owning things together. In my investment space, we talk about the unit trust. We talk about REITs. We talk about collective investment. And that's still a challenge for most of us Africans because we like to own, we like to touch, for us to believe this thing. I don't know what you have to say about that or if I'm going a bit off, but it would be great for you to share with us those opportunities and how we can change our mindset by understanding we don't necessarily have to do the business. As you say, people like the gentleman for Future Africa, he co-founded Flutterwave, he sold it, he now is in Future Africa. As an African, he's investing in other Africans. He doesn't want to do the business, but he has the money to put in your business. How do we start having more of that? And I think when we come back, maybe we'll share a little bit of what you think around that, how Africans can invest in other Africans, but even us as Africans, how do we get ready to the point where we can partner, as Terian was mentioning, and for you, where we can collaborate to make sure that we do great things. So thank you, Bina, and we'll be getting back to you about questions. I think the next person was Ida. Ida, are you on the call right now? Are you in a place with a better signal? Ida?
Hi, Anne. Yes, I am, but it's breaking up on my side, but I think I'll just give my input without the video, and probably at our next session, we can go deeper into not only what the opportunities are, but what we can, as on our own individual and organizational levels, participate, how we can participate in these opportunities, all right?
I think that is okay, Ida.
Anne, are you there?
I think because of, yes, I'm here. I'm saying, can you hear me? Ida, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I understand that. So we'll do as best as we can with the technology. Sometimes it works great when it works. When it doesn't, it's a bit if. But I do say, Ida, we really want to hear what you have to say because again, for me, I always say, Ida, she is a woman in that grew. She's all about digital transformation. So of course, when you're talking about digital economy, then you have to make sure we have digital transformation in all these organizations, in our businesses, in our institutions, in our government. That's very important. So I think, Ida, for me, I would like you to speak a little bit more on something that I think is very, very important, especially in Africa when we start talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, to make the fact that a lot of us are part of the World Trade Organization. The way we make money is through trade, intra-Africa trade, global trade. I know this space of the internet and understanding it. can you share with us the opportunities that you see? And for me, especially on digital trade, talk to us about the fourth industrial revolution, so we don't have to go to what Europe did, but we're in this moment of, you know, of a new digital era. So if you can, where you can, share with us your thoughts and what the fellow people here can look out for, so that we can make sure that we're going forward as Africans and partners around the world to make sure that we are thriving and that we're developing our continent. So go ahead, Ida.
All right, and let me give my 2 cents in terms of my input. And yes, I'm going to be very brief. Can you hear me?
Okay.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, yeah. So as I said, I'm going to be brief because of the challenges we have in this area right now. So first of all, let me just start by saying that digital is the key word, not only because of the COVID-19 crisis, but yes, the COVID-19 crisis has brought the digital to the forefront. And as the Africa Report notes, in the past in the past year or so, digitizing has moved from a good to have to a survival game changer in what has become the new norm. So for headlines on Africa, the keywords that are always actually coming up are catalyst, kickstarts, startups, and many onlookers note that the necessity for digitization has provided the essential trigger for a digital revolution in Africa. However, Africa's digital economy was not initiated by the pandemic, all right? Because the Africa digital economy had already well established itself, okay? And I've heard many of my fellow speakers talking about giving very good examples. And I think Rama was one of them who gave some very good examples, because there are already innovations like M-Pesa, which really kickstarted changed the whole way that lending was being done and brought it directly to people's phones. Now, that is what I call an innovation that has anticipated the market, is ready for the market, and acts accordingly. The more recent leaps in e-commerce, the mobile payments, the digital media consumption, and the connectivity are possible thanks to the foundations which had already been laid down in the past two decades. So for me, being in the technology space, I had already seen this coming, because we working with innovations, working with startups, we had already seen this coming. We had already seen many awesome products and services that were actually technology based. It's only that when an opportunity like COVID happens, you might think it's a challenge, but for many in the tech space, it was just an opportunity to take everything online, or to actually get organizations which they were interested in partnering with them to say yes. So the conditions created by COVID have accelerated the patterns and the trends that were already in place, but at an unprecedented pace. I would just like to urge everyone to realize that the opportunity for the Africa's digital economy is for everyone. Now, it's great because we have, of course, the Africa Kings. And I think I had this being mentioned as well by Rama, and probably the other speakers also gave good examples from their own backyards of how innovation was taking place. The Africa Kings are Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. These countries have created an unstoppable wave of technological innovation for the African continent. And beyond Africa's kings, the digital economies of Rwanda, Egypt, Tunisia, Mauritius, and Morocco are also known for their growth. These are countries I've interacted with directly. I've spoken at forums there. I have worked with many of their great innovators. Right now, we are working on an Africa Innovation Challenge. And mainly this challenge is geared towards young young innovators. We did it last year, the inaugural program. We did it last year with the Africa Telecommunication Union, with the partnership of the International Telecommunication Union, with the partnership of GSMA, as well as Intel and Huawei. And the reason of, and of course, RCD Africa, which is the organization which I am the founder member of. And when we came together, when we did Africa's Innovation Challenge, we did not expect to get such a large input of applications from African nations. Yes, we knew we had Africa Kings, but we got innovations and applications from countries we had never thought were at the forefront of the digital revolution. So this just goes to tell you that whether you are on the media or not as being at the forefront of innovation, it's actually purely an individual effort. And when individuals come forward with their products and services and say, yes, we can innovate and we are going to innovate around the digital, around fintech, around health tech, around agri-tech, and actually we want to scale not only in Africa, but globally, we will support them. So for us, at the Africa Innovation Challenge, we are supporting all these young innovators and we want to help them not only scale, but to build the right infrastructure which can go beyond the initial phase where one needs to just get the right support in order for them to survive what we call the valley of death, which is really just the initial space, which is very hard for an innovator, an entrepreneur to survive. And so for us, this year, we are going to go bigger and we are going to actually share a lot of this information with all of you. Remember, being an innovator is not just about being young in terms of age. It's about being young in terms of your ideas and your approach in terms of being so geared towards creating change. Your creativity is on point and vibrating at the right level. And those are the people we are looking for. So yes, we began definitely the initial group. Those were young innovators. We are still supporting them. And probably at our later sessions, I'll be able to share the success we have had with those innovators and open up the innovation challenge to include those not initially involved. So I'd like to thank everyone. Of course, definitely want to thank John Karegwa for creating an opportunity for us to talk about the digital economy. I'd like to thank Strategia and definitely Anne and Regal Africa. My fellow speakers were really awesome. And I'd like to see how we can collaborate in order to create more of these opportunities, because what I've seen is that we have opportunities in our own specific spaces, but many of the public the public is not really aware of what these opportunities are, and probably do not even have access to information on how they can participate in the digital economy. And this is what is actually bringing us together. So thank you, everyone. And probably I would like to send a shout out also to my country, Kenya, because I'm very excited. Yes, I'm on the global platform and I'm building innovations, not only globally, but digital, but regionally. But I'd like to send a shout out to Kenya, because Kenya is building the Silicon Savannah, and having been to the Silicon Valley myself in the US and getting back to Kenya and seeing what is being done, believe me, I was amazed, because if we only knew what we have in Africa, we would actually not even hesitate about taking our innovations, scaling them to the global arena. But we are here to help. And while growth of Africa's digitally ready countries is highly encouraging, building a multi-stakeholder digital economy with advanced network readiness is no doubt a long and arduous process, and we are going to be at the forefront of the support for this economy. So thank you so much, everyone. And yes, do reach out to me. I'm going to put my my contacts there. Let's see how we can accelerate this in our own individual spaces and also on the larger platforms. Thank you so much.
Wow, Ida, thank you so much for all that you've shared, even for giving a shout out to Kenya. We are Kenyans. In fact, when you were talking about that and being in Silicon Valley, I remember that's where I was doing my MBA a couple of years ago. And I kept telling them, going back to Africa, to the Silicon Valley, the Savannah, Silicon Valley. And I was very excited because again, at that time, this is 2012, people didn't know about M-Pesa. Even going to China, people didn't really understand the idea that you can actually send money without having a smartphone, without internet. It was a very interesting technology. And until now, the West is writing about M-Pesa, and we're like, we did this a long time ago. But this just shows that we as Africans, whether you're in Kenya, you're part of the king, you're in Kenya, Ivory Coast, you're in Nigeria, Ghana, or South Africa, you're doing great things. And there are people from other countries. Rama is from Benin. There are people in other countries who are doing great things. So thank you again for sharing that, for sharing and confirming that digital is the key word. We're going into a digital economy. It's been there, but now we are and that's why this space is there, to create awareness that the future is digital, and we have to be aware of that so that we can take advantage of that. And then also that we have to get to a point where using technology is normal, right? It makes it easier. You are where you are. The panelists are all over the world. So are the attendees. And yet we are here listening, learning to say, what can we do to make sure that we are able to take advantage of these opportunities in the digital economy so that we can make money and do great things. So thank you for that. And you also mentioned something about the Valley of Death. And again, I know that because I meet a lot of startups in Africa, great ideas, great solutions, but they're not in a point, or they're not able to move from that point to the place where they're commercially viable to get funding. Because again, as Africans, we really don't do the angel investing thing. That's something that the West has done really great. So I think we need to find a solution for the Valley of Death. Ida, you've been around the world. We need to figure out, how do we ensure that the young people of Africa who have great ideas that will solve these African problems, that they're able to get money to their businesses so that we can come up with this technology that would support all of us in the communities that we serve. And so with that, I see that, oh my God, the time has gone. We have so much to talk about. And I know I challenged some of the panelists to come back to me with a few questions. So I will go ahead with each one of our panelists. I do have questions through the chat to just see if there are any pertinent questions there. And I also would like to sort of acknowledge, there's a gentleman here, Mr. Eric Kaigama, who is in the States. He runs the Africa Chamber of Digital Commerce. So he is someone who's doing things in the US, focused on Africa, and working with the diaspora to make sure that we have solutions on the ground to make sure we are transferring not only money, but knowledge to solve African problems. I don't know if Eric is there to give us a word about what they're doing, but if not, I'll go through the questions and make sure that each of the panelists answers. On the chat, I do see here Mr. Prince Lacan. He's talking about we need more knowledge sharing and collaboration. Thank you for that. Yes, Mr. Prince Lacan Ferdinand. That's why we're here, to share information. And the rallying calls from actually everybody, but I know Ida mentioned it, Terry mentioned it. We need collaboration in Africa if you're going to do great things. I do see people who are in the tourism industry. And again, Obina challenged you. How do you pivot from just tourism as we know it and add technology to make things better? I'm seeing different people out here. I'm just trying to see if you have any question so that we can ensure that our panelists are able to answer that. I just see a lot of people from all of Africa who are putting in the information. So make sure that you go to the chat and see all these experts so that you can reach out to them if you do need their products and services. Okay, so looking at, let's see here. I see students. So everybody's here, students, professionals. That is a great thing. Sorry, just give me a moment while I just go through the questions. I see Sharon from Rwanda. Okay, yeah. So, while I'm looking through the questions, let me go back to Mr. Shukla. I don't know if you're still on the call. He was the gentleman from India who actually mentioned to us at the very beginning all the opportunities that we needed. Maybe real quick, I know you talked about free rice. And you know, a lot of the challenges we have in Africa is people are saying, we need to focus on food. I don't know, the perception is that all we are is, you know, hunger is what is portrayed to the world, and yet there are many big things that happen on the continent. But yes, there are some pockets of Africa that hunger is a problem. So there are solutions to that. So maybe if I can give you just 2 minutes to share with us about free rice. It is a great a website that you can go in to make sure that those people who are hungry in certain parts of Africa do have the food so that they can be able to be part of the digital economy.
Yeah,
so I'll just give you 2 minutes while I look for the right question. Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm sharing the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Then 1 minute, please hold on. Now, this is the website, which is freerice.com. The background is very simple. Somebody wanted to teach, one English professor of English wanted to teach English to his child, and he created this website. And it's just very simple. They say that you answer this question. Sure, I play the game and you will learn immediately, because in a short 2 minutes time, it will be difficult to go into great details, but you will pick up it fast. Sure means terrible, evil, certain. Sure means certain. Means I have answered correctly. So at the end, English vocabulary, they have given me 10 marks, and that is 10 grains. Large means big. That I want 20 grains. Look at the bottom where my arrows are showing English vocabulary 20 grains. Beautiful means lovely. So 30 grains. There are a number of such games. If you go into the great details, you play the game. If you answer correctly, these are the grains which you earn. Today in English vocabulary, I earned 30 grain of rice. And this grain of rice is donated free to people who are hungry in the world. On the left side of the website, you can see grains of rice donated yesterday is almost 20 million, 19,244,000. And over a period of time, they have donated 220 billions of grains. And this is, I have paid nothing. And people who are hungry also pays nothing. They deliver grains to the people who are hungry and make money. How? They make money by the advertisement. You have to go into great details how the website functions. And if you have any challenge in understanding, you can contact me. And my contact details will be with John and Anne, or with Invest in Africa. You can always contact me. But please give a lot of time to this site as well as the site greatergood.com. Both are operating on the same principle. You have any questions, Anne?
Okay, so far I don't have any questions, but I do want to say thank you for sharing this. I know a lot of young people are all about gamification. So how can you actually have fun games that will actually do great things? So I think this is a website that is out there. In fact, the first time I saw about free rice, I thought an Africa needs to come with free maize and a free sorghum or something, or cassava, and we can be able to actually support the production, because especially women are in this agricultural space, and we need to have their food sent to the rest of Africa and the rest of the world. So we can have more gamifications to actually make sure that not only is it feeding Africans, but Africans are able to trade in the right way and make money for themselves without only handouts. But this is a great thing, and I'm still waiting for more questions here. I'm still looking there are so many comments. Everyone is talking about, they agree that we need a one united Africans. A lot of people are saying it's a very great presentation. And so I'm still going through the questions. But as I go through the questions, I think the first question I saw here was, and I think any of you can answer if you know this, if you know the answer to this question. We were talking about the one laptop per child solution. I know for a fact back in 2012, it was being piloted in Rwanda. There was discussions in Kenya about it. But are these laptops coming from Africa? Are we going to import them from around the world? Do any of the panelists know of any African country that is in the manufacturing space that is manufacturing laptops for children? It's something one of our audience would like to know. And if we don't have one, then I think the question is, how do we challenge other Africans to set up a factory that would manufacture this, because we can't keep importing things from the rest of the world and at the same time complaining that we don't have jobs. Our jobs as Africans is not to create jobs for the Chinese or the Europeans or the Americans. I'm being pro-African here. We as Africans need to create jobs for ourselves as we do global trade. So we are importing something, but we're also exporting something. And I think if we think there's a need for children to be part of e-learning, we need to be able to manufacture this laptop. So that was a question. I don't know who wants to answer that, but I see Rama there. Let us know if you know anyone who is manufacturing this, someone who wants to know.
I would love to address that a little bit, right? So it's important to point out that, and I heard so many panelists, thank you Shukran, thank you Obina, thank you Ida, thank you Carrie, and everybody sort of mentioned different things that touch upon the one child laptop thing, the idea of that, right? If you think about it, Obina, for example, talked about cross-border collaboration and looking deep enough, mm-hmm. right? We don't do that enough, right? Carrie talked about her competition and the idea of innovation itself, right? And by the way, Ida, I will be sending my application for that. I love the innovation challenge. That's a great thing to do.
Welcome.
Oh, I will. You know, let's take an example, right? I'm going to give you a simple example before we talk about the one laptop thing, right? In West Africa, we have a staple food in West Africa called gari, right? Gari is a sort of a byproduct of I forgot the name of it. You just mentioned it. Sort of a potato substance. Cassava. Right? Cassava. There you go. Thank you. So normally what we do is we take gari, we process it, and then we are able to create some farina-like type of thing that creates food for us, right? And we all enjoy it. All African from West Africa really enjoy it. We have it in different products. In eba, we have it in so many different ways. And for centuries and centuries, we've used this as a staple food in West Africa. None of us had the forethought, even though we have a number of engineering schools in Africa, had the forethought to create a way for us to process this, to turn this into an industry and process this faster. Right? The Chinese came, they saw that we were doing this. This is a staple food that we use. And what did they do? They learned the process, they learned the process, they went back to China, they built it. And now they're selling us how to manufacture it. But not only are they selling us how to manufacture it, they're selling us the gari itself, right? And we are embracing it and we are loving it. I just left Nairobi and we met there. I just left Nairobi yesterday, right? And today I'm in San Francisco. But ultimately, one thing I learned in Nairobi is that you guys love your ugali, right? And Rwanda loves Saza. Imagine Saza all of a sudden being sold by a Chinese company and no longer by the locals, right? It's that amount to that. And we need to get to a point where we start understanding, even though the people, the larger people that are hungry are not ready for something, doesn't mean that we cannot evolve. We have to make people to understand. We have to get to a point where we start explaining the larger need and we start sort of innovating for the people that are not ready to accept the innovation. right? Everyone in innovation loves this quote, right? If I had asked them what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse, right? And that was from Henry Ford. But ultimately, as we think about this innovation, we have a number of people, like you said, that they're not ready for change. They cannot fathom the idea of change because in their mindset, if for example, my job is to break the cocoa bean to be able to make coffee, and all of a sudden, there goes this gentleman again.
I'm not sure. Just give it a moment, Rama.
I think you can mute him, right?
All right.
Okay. Sorry about that, but Rama, please go ahead. We apologize about that.
It's okay. Apparently, Techno Pop or whatever his name is really loves me, and I love him back. So it's okay. but basically, I forgot my train of thought. But ultimately, right, as we consider the fact that if we don't innovate for these people, right, if we don't get to a point where we start convincing the larger part of us to accept the innovation, we miss the boat, right? We miss what is happening. And we are going to miss our chance to actually evolve Africa. We can't afford to do that. There won't be a second chance in our lifetime for us to actually move Africa the way that we are currently. All eyes are on Africa, and if all eyes are on us and we fail, then it is on us that we fail. Now, recently, it was announced that the free trade agreement was announced, and we all championed it. And the free trade agreement is great for one thing. It's a great policy maker, right? But policy does not change people's mind. It does not change the norm on the ground. Right? Only people can change other people's mind. So we need to mobilize. We need to get to a point where we start moving the market along and start making the people that are against these movements to start realizing the opportunity ahead of them, right? If, for example, like I was saying before I was interrupted, my job is to break the cocoa bean, right? To be able to take out the cocoa so that people can make coffee and tea. And all of a sudden you tell me that now that's being done by a machine. The first thing that comes into my mind is I'm going to lose my job, right? But if someone comes to me and explains to me that, well, there are other programs that would enable me to earn money in a different way in this digital economy, and then I don't have to pay for those, and I can evolve, and I can make even more money than I used to, now my thinking starts changing a little bit. And that's the conversations that we need to have, right? Now, to go back to your one-child laptop, right? We started addressing this, right? When we first got into the market, the first thing we did, and when I was in Kenya just recently, we did it again. I bring, everywhere I go in Africa, I bring along with me a ton of Chromebooks. And I get these Chromebooks very simply by going to schools in the US that are retiring their Chromebooks. So every 5 years, schools in the US have to retire the Chromebooks and get new devices, right? So I just go around and I collect these devices and we put them in, I put them in my suitcase most of the time. And I bring them into different countries I'm going into. And whenever I see kids or we are doing a campaign, we just donate these laptops. We don't have to wait for a government to make a movement as large as it needs to. Right? Every one of us here are conscious. We know what we are capable of. We know our network. We know how we can contribute to that. We don't need an entire government to have an infrastructure that's going to build Chromebooks. And to answer your question of what government is doing that, the closest government that can do that currently is Rwanda, right? Paul Kagame has an organization and they'll build a mobile phone. Right? If they manufacture the mobile phone, they can actually transform those infrastructure that they already have on the ground to start building laptops. And if anybody wants to talk about that, I've done that at Google, so I can definitely help in that area. But ultimately, we need to realize that we don't have to wait anymore. We don't need a government to do that. We don't need an organization to do that. Individually, we can do that, right? Reach out to the things that you know. I was talking to Dr. Kamarogo in Kenya last time, and Dr. Kamarogo said something. He said, and this was on the KDA sort of interaction, and he said, adopt a school, right? He announced a program where expats were given the opportunity to adopt a school. So they pick a school in their region that they know that they went to, and they donate devices to those schools. They help them with professional development. Everyone here can do that already today. You can get up and start doing that. Let's not wait. The time is not tomorrow, it's now.
Okay. Time is not tomorrow, it's now. Challenge taken, don't wait for government. In fact, when you were talking about that, I realized we have a lady here who's actually been an investor in Africa before, Joy with the African Women, and she actually took advantage of Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement and decided poly has been done, but we need to actually create awareness and be able to ensure that there's implementation that is happening, which will happen with the business people coming together and saying we're going to trade in Africa. So maybe if we have time later on, I'll have Joy maybe talk a little bit about that. I also, when I was going through the chat, I noticed there's a lady called Hannah Mwangi who has started a virtual assistant business, which is, I think a very good Shukla was talking about. You're in Kenya, but you can offer virtual assistance to anyone around the world. There's nothing stopping you. And for a lot of people who are in the business as startups, a lot of startups don't have the luxury or the money to actually have somebody there full time. So this is a solution. So I just wanted to highlight that because I feel like a lot of us here have the solution. We just need the support. There's a lady who mentioned about the nanotechnology factory that was set up. It was actually launched, I think, three days ago by the president of Kenya. It's in Nyeri, which is a county in the central of Kenya. So again, that is what we need to do. We need to actually go into these different African countries. We move out from the cities, go into the rural areas and make sure digital economy is not just a city thing. It's everyone in the continent who is doing that. There's a lady called Elizabeth, I think Kwaibera. She was asking about, she is in the personal finance space and she's looking for a credible online training platform. I do have to say it later, but that is exactly what Yazi Academy is all about. That is what Rama is doing. So if you just need to go in and just Google Yazi Academy, it is a platform that you go in, you will be able to put in your content, which in this case is about personal finance, and then people will be able to log in into the platform, see your content and use it. So I think after this, you want to reach out to Ram at Yazi and he can be able to advise you accordingly. Because before we get last words, I do want to do a couple of things. One, someone asked about the masterclass that I had mentioned earlier that Mr. Shukla is doing after this. If you have any questions, he did put his contacts on the chat, but reach out to the Invest in Africa team and they will share that with you. Also, I do have to say, I don't know if Victoria Onchari is here. She is with the Strategia Business School, a masterclass that they're coming up with about doing in business. Oh, Victoria, good.
Hello, Anne, how are you?
Oh my, sorry, it looks like I was talking all this time on mute.
No problem.
I apologize. So Victoria and I had just sort of mentioned your name because of the masterclass that will be coming up on doing business in Africa. I really wanted you to spend some time to share that so that people can know, if I want to do business in Africa, where do I get the knowledge? So if you can go ahead and just do that presentation, I'll appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much, Anne, and thank you, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's been a very interesting session. Thank you to all the panelists. My name is Victorine, as Anna said, and I am the training manager at Strategia Business School. And I'd like to take this opportunity to just tell you a bit about what we offer. Strategia Business School is based in the Netherlands, and we offer a number of different professional training services. One of these products is the masterclass, which is in line with the topic of what we're talking about today. And it deals with doing business in Africa. It's basically training and guidance on the way you can go about doing business in Africa. And we've selected topics for this masterclass specific to address some of the issues that people could have. For example, how do you raise funds and investments? What are the procedures for importing into Africa or importing out of Africa? How understanding the African market? So just different topics that revolve around providing guidance and on the procedures and guidelines of investing in Africa. Now, these masterclasses run for 2 months with weekly sessions, and they go for 500 euros, sorry. And for the lucky participants within this meeting, we're actually having a discount today, a 20% discount on all our courses. So if you're interested in this, you can just send us an email on webinar@strategiabusiness.com. This session is starting in June. We also offer online business courses in different levels, certificates. We have diplomas and we have postgraduate diplomas in different areas of business, procurement, supply chain management, digital marketing. The idea is to kind of learn, and I think we've talked a lot about this, that to be able to find these opportunities, you must have the knowledge to know where to get them and who to speak to about these things. So our business courses, we have certificates, as I mentioned, that go for 3 months for 500 euros. We have diploma courses that go for 6 months for 800 euros. And then we also offer postgraduate diplomas that go for 1 year for 1,200 euros. If you have any more questions or any more queries about this, you can contact us on info@strategiabusiness.com. I've mentioned some of this in the chat below. So you can find that there. And I think there's a short video that maybe the host can play for us to just get a gauge of what this is.
Africa is the next frontier, and you can be the next big investor. It's no secret that Africa is the next frontier, and you can be the next big investor. At Strategia Business School, we'll offer you a monthly masterclass that will help you build your network among respected entrepreneurs and business leaders and guide you on the opportunities available and how to mitigate any challenges of investing in Africa. Our African Business Club will also introduce you to our team of African business mentors and fellow investors, all tailored to your very own needs. Among the modules covered are doing business in Africa, raising investment and trade finance, importing from Africa and exporting to Africa, agribusiness opportunities in Africa, and understanding the African market. You can also register for online diploma business courses with a flexible learning schedule. Some of our courses include Diploma in Digital Marketing, Diploma in Sales and Marketing, Diploma in Finance Management, and Diploma in Logistics Management. Certificate courses run for 3 months, while diploma courses run for 6 months, and you can register at the beginning of every month. The cost for certificate courses is 500 euros, while diploma courses cost 800 euros. Take action and register today. For more information, contact info@strategiabusiness.com or visit www.strategiabusiness.com.
Okay, yeah, so Anne, thank you very much. Anyone that wants to contact us, I'll put the contact details at the bottom. And yeah, it's been a very engaging session, and thank you all the participants. Back to you, Anne.
All right, thank you, Victorian, for sharing with us what people can in regards to joining these courses at the Strategia Business School. It's very important. I keep telling people knowledge is power. Knowledge is important. And sometimes as Africans, when you go into business, you think you can just sort of go into business, which has been what people have done in the past. But if you want to do great things, then you need to learn the business language. You need to understand how things work. And so I would encourage all of you to participate in the masterclass at the Strategia Business School and all diploma courses that they offer. And one of the things that Victorian said is that they have a discount for all of you. And I know as Africans, we like discounts, right? So ask them, ask the team at Invest in Africa how you can get those discounts. And I believe you will learn a lot from that. In fact, when Victorian, when you're presenting, I realized that earlier on, Rama had mentioned that what we need in Africa is not only infrastructure, but business knowledge and business know-how. That is sort of the challenges we've been having in Africa. So I'm glad that you have a solution in regards to that. So I encourage all of you to do it. I want to go ahead and have Mr. John Karegwa, who's the CEO of Africa, Invest in Africa Convention. John, are you here with us? I would like you, before I get the last words from our panelists, I would like you to just sort of tell us more about your thoughts on this. Where do we start? We are business people here, we are students, we are business leaders, we are the international community, we are Africans. We want to know that after this conversation, action is happening. So could you share with us your thoughts about the way forward, and then we can have the last words from the panelists. So go ahead, John. I currently only see a red screen. Okay, nice to you. Okay,
all right.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And actually, I wanted to, because I realized there are a number of young people in this session. And I originally come from Kenya, and people are always talking about unemployment. And I'd like to give a quick example of, I was doing some consultancy in South Sudan, and outside the hotel, I noticed, a guy with a pickup with a number of papers. And I was curious and I asked him, what are you doing with all these papers? And he said he was going to some deep part in South Sudan to offer an exam for a number of South Sudanese. And I told him, why don't you send them by email? And he had not understood what I was talking about. And immediately, as of that moment, I saw an opportunity. And when I got back to Nairobi, I prepared a brief course, which is what had taken me to South Sudan on fundraising. And I posted in some blogs. And within 1 month, I was able to register 6 students. And that's where my e-learning program started, which is now running in Kenya and in the Netherlands. Now, I'd quickly like to share some, a screen in terms of how do you get started, because we have lots of young people here who do not know how to get started. Please, if you don't mind, because we need to think, and that resonates very well with what Terian was talking about. You have an online business that runs for 24/7. That can be run from anywhere. We have clients from Afghanistan, Philippines, Nepal, Uganda, Botswana, Nigeria, and so you don't have to, when the economy is doing badly, for example, in Kenya, right now everybody in Kenya is complaining. It's not doing badly in the US and other parts of the world. And of course you have global exposure if you're selling the product, and you are able to make money while you're sleeping. I think that's the good thing about, online business, and in particular, e-learning. So quickly, let me share my, present my screen very fast, just so that people understand what I'm talking about. Okay, my experience, this is a real experience in terms of, everybody has their own experience, but this is a personal experience because not everybody can do business, but this is what I found is working. First, you need to have a skill that you can sell. And then as a business person, you need to have the mindset that you can do it. And also invest in a bit of creativity. Take a product to the market if it's not unique. And then of course, create a product, think of a target audience, and then think of the medium in which to present your product. Now, these are the quick opportunities, especially for the young people. I'm thinking of, the young people in Kenya who will tell you there are no jobs. And you can sell, these are some of the opportunities you can sell online, especially if you're coming from any part of the world, Africa. You can be an online tutor. Right now with COVID, you know what's happening. So you can sell a skill, teachers, have been thrown out of jobs. The opportunities in video editors. Right now, there are millions of videos being uploaded online. You can offer yourself as an editor before people present some of those videos. Someone mentioned there are virtual assistants. That's another big opportunity. People are working from home. They need, backup support. We have, for example, we are working from the Netherlands, but I have like 5 people from different parts of the world who do this and that service, designing website, designing a flyer, doing marketing, online marketing, and so on and so forth. You can do bookkeeping. If you're a bookkeeper or you're an accountant, you can sell your service online, and you don't have to, meet the person who's giving you the job, data analysis, web development, and so on and so forth. Every other company has a YouTube page. You can be a YouTube manager for a company. That's also another opportunity. It doesn't cost you, all you need is a laptop and bundles, and you're in business and you can market yourself. What Terian talked about, you can be a social media manager for a company, and manage their Instagram or Facebook or Twitter account. You can also start delivery services. That's the in thing right now. There's a company here in the Netherlands that hit about 420 million euros just doing delivery services for food. So that's Uber. Uber is doing the same all over Africa and the whole world. So anybody can start that business even without having to run or to own restaurants or even to own the motorcycles. Online learning. This is what we do. It's a big opportunity. We have clients from all over the world. You can do online coaching. Just offer a service. No matter the service that you have, you can post it online, and you get clients signing up. You can be a social media brand ambassador of a company or a campaign, and you do posts to push the agenda. You can create what you call a paying community group, interest people and ask them to register in as members, and they pay something even as much as even $5 or €5 or 200 shillings to get some information. And you make the money as long as you keep giving them information that interests them. You can also, if your Instagram or Facebook account has a big following, you can post, you can run ads there. You can also build a community in your Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook group, more or less like what Terian was talking about. And then you sell the group and to someone who wants to advertise to the target market and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can be product influencer, endorse products online, and you can build that following online without having to take a loan from the bank or sell some land. All these are opportunities that are online. Quickly, and how do you start? How you start is find a niche and an area that is unique. And some of the areas that are interest lots of people right now is finance, relationships, fitness, health, and entertainment. Those are areas that people keep checking online. So if you're offering information in those areas, you can sell a product, then design a product. Even before you develop the product, test it in the market and test its demand. If you get one single query, like I've mentioned, I tested my fundraising, online fundraising course, and within 1 month, I had 6 applications, and that assured me that the market is huge. Create a website. Once you have a website that has all the information, then you can also create a payment shop, Visa, PayPal, so that people are able to make payment, or other invoicing system, and start marketing your product. And I'll give examples of where to market. And once you start marketing and selling, then you start the conversions, and step by step you will learn the process. You can do this again and again. And most importantly is your customers become very, very important. So save their data and come back again and again and sell the product. So how do you market? Quickly, because I know because of time, video is very, very powerful. In fact, we used to say a picture speaks 1,000 words, but I think a video speaks 1,000,000 words. So, you can use videos online. You can use a Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, LinkedIn, pages or pay ads, on those platforms. Put together an email list, so you're able to pass a word to your potential market. You can write blogs, about different topics, and in the process, you mention your product. Do search engine optimization for your website, so that many more people can see your website and have interest in your product. Create content, for business pages. If you know, a page online, you can offer to contribute something on in the line of the website or the blog, and in the process, you have a chance to mention your product, and people click on that link, and that takes them to your shop. And if you combine all these strategies, video, Facebook, Instagram, email list, content marketing, search engine optimization for your website, you have business flowing in. And this does not need you to go to the bank to take a loan. Does not need you to sell your plot in Kamulu to get started. You can start from wherever you are. And that's all I've got to say. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, John. I'm laughing because you're like, you don't have to sell that plot.
Yeah.
We know what that means in Kenya, but thank you, John, for actually giving us practical examples. A lot of people I know go for different webinars and they get a lot of information and it's overwhelming, but I like the fact that you really broke it down. This is how I started with me going into the e-learning platform. This is what I'm doing in Strategia Business School and the other training programs that you're doing, and that you can support clients in Africa and around the world. In fact, when you're talking, I was like, I think it's a good time for me to actually share with people certain things I do. One thing I do have to tell all of you who are on this call, there's one thing about finding opportunities, but when you're doing it, sometimes what you want to do is enter it the right way. We can't all build what I say in Kenya, kiosk. Tiny, tiny, tiny little businesses. You want to find a place whereby you can actually do great things. So for example, I encourage people that if you could be part of a platform, like the lady earlier, Elizabeth says, she has content for personal finance. Instead of her creating her own online academy, she can join into the Yazi Academy and be able to present this thing. So for me at Regal Africa, I was seeing on the list that John put about people becoming bookkeepers and accountants. That is something that we do at Regal Africa in regards to accounting outsourcing. So if you're a bookkeeper or an accountant and you want to start offering your service to the world, maybe what you can do is be part of our team at Regal Africa. And so then you're part of a bigger thing and you get paid to do your work, but you don't have to actually have to start your own company or platform. The other thing we're also doing at Regal Africa, we just set up the Regal Africa Business Institute. So again, we'll be actually talking a lot about the information needed in the business community in Africa. So you'll start seeing us doing a lot of things in that space. I know John is an expert, and I also look to go into that space around international trade, family businesses, and business leadership. So I also wanted to say that. Also, I do see Diana, who is here from Elite Global. It's an American-based company that actually does work here in Africa. So again, if you're a branding expert, a marketing expert, and you don't want to start your own company, you can actually be part of Elite Global and actually offer your services globally. What I'm trying to say is when you're starting to be part of this digital economy, you don't necessarily have to build it from scratch yourself. You can actually collaborate, partner, or be part of a system. Once you understand it in entirety, that is when now you start your own thing. So start with what you have, start with what you know, and then build it from there. So that's what I really wanted to do. And because of time, I will just go ahead and just get the last remarks from each of our panelists. For Mr. Shukla, he already shared with us, but if you have anything to say around global opportunities, especially around business service outsourcing, because you are a management consultant, and I know India is really big on business service outsourcing. I'd appreciate that. And then we'll follow that with Ida, if she's still on the call, if she could just give us her last remarks around the future of international trade in Africa. And then we'll have Obinna talk to us. I know I challenged him a little bit. I don't know if you have time to go into that, but Obinna, if you can share with us your last remarks and your thoughts around transitioning in different industries into the digital economy. And then Terry-Ann, if you can also give us your last remarks and tell us what more we need to do as you set an example of really great work in different spheres and different industries in regard to the digital economy. And then we'll end with Rama. I did also challenge you around the e-learning, if you can share with us your last remarks. So with that, Mr. Shukla, are you still on the call? If you can give us your last remarks, please just have 1 minute, 2 minutes max. We will really appreciate it because of time. Mr. Shukla? Okay, I guess he's not there. If we can have Ida. Ida, are you on the call? Okay, Ida earlier was having challenges, so maybe she stepped out. But Obinna, are you on the call?
Yes, I am still on the call.
Yes, I am. I see that. So, okay, yes, Obinna. So please give us your last remarks. And if you could tell us about transitioning into the digital economy, just morph it into your last remarks, we really appreciate that.
Okay. So I was actually thinking about the social contracts for co-investing and stuff, but yeah. Transitioning is really about positioning yourself based on two things: where you currently stand and where you see the opportunities. So some people make a mistake of saying, I have been doing this for 5 years. This is all that I understand, and I can't afford to unlearn and relearn new things. But the reality is that whether you choose to learn new things or whether you feel you're so old to learn new things, you're still going to get older, right? So it's like saying, I want to be a doctor, but I'm 35 years. I'm afraid I don't want to spend 5 years in school. Those 5 years will come and they will go, whether you go to school or you remain in the same position. So if you intend to transition, that's the mindset you need.
All right, thank you for your last remarks. I'll go ahead to Terry-Ann. I see Terry-Ann, you're still on the call. If you could just please give us your last remarks in regards to the opportunities in digital trade. I know the audience will appreciate it. Terry-Ann? All right. I thought I saw her still on the call, but I guess then we will have Rama, the last man standing, if you can give us your last remarks, and if you could just share with us a little bit about the e-learning. I'm very excited about that because I think we all need to learn, and continuous education is very important. If you can give us last remarks about the opportunities found in the digital economy and your thoughts around that, we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, and thank you everyone for today. I really enjoyed it. I'm always amazed by how many great minds we have and how many people come together to pull these things together. And I learned so much from them. As much as I speak, I learned a lot. So thank you for the lessons today. Really, when it comes to e-learning, you know, one of the things that we believe is going to be transformational is we've noticed that there's quite a bit of platform out there that are just video based, right? So there's a lesson here, and then you watch the video, and then you transition from that. We are thinking about how do we evolve that, right? So how do we not only just how do we touch every type of learning, right? So every type of learner. There are different pathways to our brain, right? Today, education only touch 4, and we've complained about that, right? So e-learning should actually do better than just cater to the visual learners, right? So we're thinking about how do we cater to the auditory learners, how do we cater to the kinesthetic learners, right? By sending them kits that they can build at home, right? So they are actually touching the learning as they do it, right? We're thinking about how do we appeal to the tasters, right? There are people that taste, that learn through tasting. My daughter is obsessed with putting things in her mouth. I don't know why. She loves just to taste it, right? And that's how she learns. So we need to think about how do we evolve e-learning itself in that way, right? And there was a bit of challenge today on, let's not just build for Africa. My call to action remains build, not thinking about we got to build regionally, but we have to see big enough to see the larger picture and the global market as a whole, because it's what's at stake for us, right? It's what's at stake for us. We got to do that. So call to action again. Don't wait to start. Start right now. And when you start right now, start thinking big, very, very big. Small does not help the world. So please think as big as possible. We are all available to help. I'm available to collaborate with anyone that wants to collaborate. I saw so many great things posted today that I'm looking to just honing on. I reached out to a few people already, and I'm already taking a couple down that I'm going to reach out to again. And thank you so much for your collaboration. You are a wealth of knowledge. That's why we sat together for like 6 hours just talking about everything, right? And I really enjoyed that, and I want to do more of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ram. I always enjoy the conversation and your wealth of knowledge and the challenges. Your last remarks here, you've talked about evolve. We need to evolve as Africans and people around the world. We're in a new normal, and you can't have the future without digital, right? That's why we're having this conversation. So I'll go ahead and again thank all of you. I'll start off by thanking John. Thank you, John, and the Invest in Africa team for actually taking the time to put together this virtual symposium. I think it's very important, and a lot of people have gotten the information that they need to actually move into the digital economy if they're not already there. I want to thank all the speakers who took their time to share with us their insights, the opportunities that they see, and at least they've given you a gateway in what you need to do if you're in business, the opportunities that they're there on the continent that you can do that you can actually take up. So of you in the audience, those who have been here and those ones who have remained, thank you very much for participating in this virtual symposium. We appreciate that. And until next time, have a good day and God bless. Bye-bye.
More than 168 million people in over 50 countries are in need of humanitarian aid. Highly violent conflicts are causing widespread hunger, displacement, human suffering, death, and destruction around the world. Now more than ever, there's an acute need for skilled humanitarian manpower to match the growing need. It's time to take action and grow your career in the humanitarian sector. Welcome to Strategia Netherlands. We are an international organization that aims at making development and humanitarian work more effective. We're an independent and private provider of online and distance learning in humanitarian courses. Our mission is to provide our clients with relevant and high-quality courses to propel them to the heights of their choice careers. With over 300 exciting career-focused courses to choose from at Strategia Netherlands, our students are imparted with skills that greatly increase their prospects for employment, as well as value to employers. Our students work for international organizations such as the United Nations and national and international non-governmental organizations and various governments. You can now apply online for diploma and postgraduate courses with a flexible schedule that allows you to study and maintain full-time employment. Apply now for a diploma in monitoring and evaluation, diploma in conflict management, diploma in leadership and management, diploma in humanitarian logistics, diploma in community development, diploma in grants management, diploma in disaster management, diploma in water, sanitation and hygiene, diploma in gender development, and diploma in food security and nutrition in humanitarian emergencies. The cost for diploma courses is 800 euros, while postgraduate courses cost 1,200 euros. Visit www.strategianetherlands.eu for more information. Take action and register today.